but you were missed, and it is what it is. And there is Amanda. Amanda, how are you? It's so good to see you. It's good to talk. And good morning to you. I hope you didn't have too late of a night and you didn't have too many drinks last night. But last night was great, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it as people start to slowly come in here. The delay here is annoying. So like when you post a comment on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, it takes like, I don't know, 30 seconds till the comment pops up. And when you're going through a conversation, it's I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. And I'm glad that you are all here. I just want to wish you all a good morning and an amazing morning and a positive morning. And welcome to the Freedom Coffee live stream, where we're all going to continue to be appreciative of the freedoms that we're able to maintain that we have. And we're going to work on expanding those freedoms in the future. So it's all good stuff. It's all positive stuff. And all the noise in the background and divisiveness and whatever, that's all slowly coming to an end. And you can see it. You can feel it. You can feel that people are they're really tired of it. And I think that was one of the biggest things that came out of the Freedom Convoy and everything since then, is that we all got to start to come together, irrespective of political operatives, all that sort of stuff. That we on the ground level, we all, at the end of the day, were able to work through our differences and all get along. And it's pretty amazing. I got to tell you, it's pretty amazing when everybody gets on the same page. And don't forget, please, like, share, subscribe, whatever platform you're watching this on. I just appreciate it. It's a big help to the algorithm. You've heard many people say it before. And I've been asked to continue doing this, and I am going to continue doing it because I love it, and this is great. And I love all your positive messages, everything that you guys send me over Twitter, Getter. I'm also, by the way, now on Truth. Yes, the Trump platform. It was finally available in Canada, and I got to tell you, the interface is pretty good. Anybody can tell what good programming is. There's a little bit of glitchiness on the web interface, but on the phone, like on the mobile device, the programming's pretty solid. Like maybe because it's new, so there's not a lot of I've talked about before bloatware, and things are pretty smooth and fluid. And lots of people are on there. I'm shocked. I thought it would just be an echo chamber of one, perspective, but it's not. It seems to be a legitimate platform. I don't know how many people are using it. That's the only issue. Everybody still seems to be on. I would say Twitter is the best platform, but for this sort of discourse. But who knows? Moving forward, we will find out. Are you having an awesome day? Because if today's not awesome, it's going to be awesome by the time we're done all of this, because you're going to realize what we talked about in the Twitter space on Sunday night, which was really epic. That none of you are alone, that none of us are alone. That's what we learned during the Freedom Convoy, that there's lots of people who think like us, and it's all positive, it's not negative, and that's the story that's going to be told in here. All the good things, all the positive stories. And, there's a number of chapters in here. I'm not even in it. It's nothing to do with me. Just trying to tell other people's stories and experiences. We did a lot of interviews for this book, HonkingForFreedom.com. So I think it's going to give you a good context as to what's going on. I'm going to talk more about this moving forward. But November 11th, Remembrance Day. So we can remember why freedom is important and what other people sacrificed for us to have our freedoms. So that is very important for those of you who are Instagram and didn't see. That's the book. Anyways, so yeah, this is a little gift that came this week, and this was actually first draft of the pre-approval, and the second draft should be here today, and that was the final one. But so this is just a sample that will. There's one that's up on my cabinet next to how the Prime Minister sold freedom. And there's going to be more coming. So, how How are we going to make today positive? Well, it's pretty simple. I'm looking outside. You know, I have a pretty good view of the city. I see lots of leaves changing colors. Good morning, Lily. And it's sunny. It's beautiful. People are out walking around, and people are going for jogs still. I don't know. What is there to be angry and upset for? Because people have different political views. Okay, who cares? We all do. We have people like that in our families, and we still love them. So all of the noise is really, it's pretty irrelevant, I think, at least for me, for my frame. And I think it should be to you as well, because despite all our differences, I think we're pretty much, we know how to get along and respect each other. The noise is limited to, you know, social media, where that just becomes, you know, an outlet for people just to air their grievances without any consequences. And I think that's why social media might seem more divisive than it actually is. Pandemonium. It's gross where I live. Laugh and emoji. Laugh emoji. Yeah, Pam told me they had a massive snowfall yesterday, and it was minus 27 degrees. And I'm like, well, it looks pretty. At least it looks very nice. You know how many people in my life that, because, you know, I've spent so much time in Latin America, so many of my friends always, when I tell them I'm from Canada, and they say, ah, que linda la nieve, like how pretty the snow, it's so gorgeous. And I've met many, many people that have never seen snow, and they try to convince me how beautiful the snow is, and they wish that they could experience winter. Okay, to each their own. So there it goes to show you there's positive in everything. And if you look at the wait, Pam's sending a video to be in your live video. I don't know what that. Do you want me to? Pam, tell me if you want me to execute this and say yes, because I don't know what this is. Speaking of snow, well, Beth, there you go. Beth says snow is beautiful. I love it. So there you go. There's, I personally, palm trees and the beach and mojitos and some salsa dancing. That's my thing. But, you know, to each their own. And I will admit, you know, snow is very pretty, especially on the days where it's just 0 degrees. It's not too cold and it's a fresh snowfall. Like what you see in the picture that's the thumbnail for this this video. That picture was from the Arc Hotel in Ottawa on February 4th. And it's a picture of a W900. One of the truckers was parked there. And then take a look at that picture when you can. And maybe I'll post it to Instagram. Instagram and Twitter and all that sort of stuff. You'll notice something very interesting. The truck is parked in legal parking, in a legal parking spot, as are the vehicles on the other side of the street are parked in a legal parking spot. And what is in between there? A perfectly functioning road. You know, oh, it's pandemonium, everything's blocked up. I'm like, you can look at the picture, and that's 2 blocks from Parliament. And that's exactly the street, you know, if you look behind the truck, if you went maybe a few hundred meters behind it, where I slipped and broke my ankle. So, yeah, this whole, you know, this whole narrative that, oh, you couldn't even maneuver in Ottawa. Like, come on, dude. Like, truckers know safety procedures. It's a big part of training for truckers is all about safety procedures. And you can, I mean, these are people that are sensitive to emergency vehicles. They know, we know a lot of cops, and you can see in that picture itself that there's no massive pandemonium that you can't function. Yeah, there was more traffic than usual because there's more people in the city as usual. I have a whole bunch of pictures like that, by the way, and videos and whatever. So it is what it is. Okay, last night, and this is going to be a little bit short today because I'm going to be, well, I'll talk about that in a second. Last night I met, so we were going to have a book launch event last night. This was the second time we planned one. And just certain things happened with the venue. It didn't work out. I get the impression, they didn't tell me this outright, unlike the first venue, but I got the impression that there was some sort of pressure or discomfort, because there was an email that we received from them that stated something to the effect that, oh, we don't usually do political events. And I'm like, it's a book. Like, what do you want? But, maybe they were uncomfortable for whatever reason. And then the communication really broke down, and it's okay, fine. So clearly, and my assistant was scrambling to deal with it, and it was a challenge. So let's not force people to do what they're uncomfortable with. And we gave it as long as we could, tried to work with them, and it just didn't happen. So that's not a comment on the venue. It is what it is. I understand it, and what are you going to do? So, but I found out that somebody, I won't say the name because sometimes people don't, people's jobs, they might be sensitive to certain topics. Somebody who is a wonderful person, she booked a hotel room in Toronto with, I believe it is her sister-in-law, if I'm not mistaken, and came down here for the night to come to the venue and had a ticket and all that sort of stuff. And I felt awful. I felt horrible. So I thought, you know what? Let's go to a bar, a pub, whatever. Let's hang out. Let's get to know each other, talk, any questions, ideas, suggestions, all that sort of stuff. And so we did. We went out, and we're going to go out for about an hour or so, and we ended up hanging out for, 3 hours. It was far later than I was initially anticipating, but really good people, really, really nice, sweet people, really connected. Really, no surprise that people that, their base layer is freedom, and that we were all emotionally impacted by the Freedom Convoy. No surprise that we all got along, and it was a great night. It was, and I thank you for coming. I really do appreciate it, and I apologize that the event had to be canceled, but at least you got some free drinks out of it, right? So it was a lot of fun, and thank you so much. And I know a couple of you are here as well that were trying to come and couldn't make it, and you know what? We'll do it again, because there's going to be plenty of opportunities for us to meet, and we will do it, and we'll make it a priority. And it'll be great. So, but thank you very much. Last night was amazing. Dr. G says, Benjamin, where do I buy the book? Brother. Simple. Go to honkingforfreedom.com. In there will be the links for the platforms that you can buy it. So right now, I think there's 2 platforms for pre-order for the digital version. When we launch, if all goes smoothly, which it won't, because everything screws up, always. That's just life. Ellie and the team will have links to all 4 platforms. So if you don't like Amazon, which I understand many people don't, especially truckers in the United States, I've mentioned this here before, you'll have other platforms, other options where to buy it. And you'll be able to buy it a digital copy or the Dead Tree edition, which is this one. And that will be available on November 11th. Now, I've had people ask me about audiobooks, and especially truckers, because a lot of us, it seems, listen to audiobooks while we're driving. I do frequently. And yes, there will be an audiobook. The audiobook won't be available until on November 11th. That's something that's being worked on now, because I'm a firm believer that the author needs to be the reader. So we've set up all the infrastructure for the recording, and I will be doing the audiobook recording, and that's going to take a couple of months, which is not uncommon for books. They'll come out and they'll come out an audio book version at a later date, which is exactly what we're doing. And then depending on the level of success, we're looking at other languages. And I think we're going to start with Spanish, not French. No, that's no offense to people in French, but we may do them both in tandem. I'm not sure yet. But we're going to do Spanish just because I want to read the audiobook in Spanish as well. I figure it's a good way to practice my horrible pronunciation. And by the end of the book, I should be far more digestible. But it is what it is. And Guillermo asked for French as well, so we're trying to do those two in tandem. That will be sometime in 2023. We just don't know when. Dr. G, thank you. I like the Dead Tree edition. Right on, brother. And also this beautiful cover. And I got to thank Luciano, who did the took this picture, and the picture wraps around to the back, so it's all one image. Hey Hannah, this he took 12,000 pictures on the ground there. He was there all 3 weeks, and it really had an impact on his life. It gave him some new perspective on his life and what he should be doing, and he was very thankful to Tamara and myself for allowing him to kind of make some changes in his life that he thought were positive, and was really, felt very blessed to have such a wonderful praise from somebody that I don't know that we were deserving of, but it was really nice. So, snow is beautiful. Looking out from a wrap in a cozy blanket, sitting by a big fireplace by a big fire in the fireplace. Otherwise, no. Okay, yes. Wow. Try going out on the road in a truck and then having some maintenance issues or a breakdown in the snow. That really sucks. It is what it is. But at least you're in a truck. It's not like you're in a car. It's a little bit better to digest. But it does happen. And I try to go. I've only had one breakdown in all my time. You know, I'm saying this as I'm about to go into my truck, and I just hope I didn't just jinx myself. But it is what it is. If you see a truck on the side of the road, have some compassion for that guy, because sometimes they're going to wait for 4 or 5. In my case, I had to wait 8 hours to have somebody just show up to deal with my breakdown. It was really frustrating. So, Pandemonium says on Instagram, Luciano, or Luke _ LUC _ Cherubino is the Instagram account for his work, where he that's the photographer that took this photo, and he's got a bunch of other photos like this. And I've also put on honkingforfreedom.com, we put together a little bit of a gallery of a number of Luke's photos similar to this one, just to give you a good feel of what was going on the ground in this photo here in Ottawa. So honkingforfreedom.com, you'll see some of my interviews that I did. You'll see Luke's portfolio of stuff, and by Friday you will be able to finally order your copy of Honking for Freedom. And I promise you are going to I think you're going to like it, because it's all the negative stuff that some of you saw last week, because I had no choice but to expose it. But that's not what this book is. This book is all the positive stuff. It's all the good experiences in terms of what happened. It's the feel and the mood that helped people realize there's a shift in not only our country but society more broadly, that people are fed up with the divisiveness. They want to come together irrespective of our differences. And that's what I'm trying to tell. That's the story I'm trying to tell in the book. And yeah, there's some bumps in the road in the book that are a little bit, there are a few challenges, let's say, in Ottawa. So you get a lot better context from the inside what we were dealing with. And start off. The first chapter is when we're getting raided, and then work back. So it really is an adventure story. It's true, but it's an adventure story. It's really quite amazing, and I feel privileged that this was a part of my life. So I love the name of the book. Everything else is a bonus. Yeah, they didn't seem to like the name of the book when I was being questioned, but I'm like, what do you want? Like, this was the cry for help from the government, and nobody was listening to us, so that's and even with that, once things died down for a couple of days. After a couple of days, things really got quiet, as evidenced by many of the videos that I have. But it was it was really funny that when the class action suit started, that everybody just went nuts online from all over the world. Hashtag honk honk everywhere. You name the country, all over Africa, South America. There were people that jumped on that that hashtag to support us, and it was quite amazing. So, Libby says, can we order on Amazon on Friday? Yes. So you'll be able to, crossing my fingers, yes. There's a team that have been working on this for a couple of months now, and they're mostly Venezuelan. And so they're very impassioned by this issue because they've seen what this whole postmodernist subjectivist worldview has done to their country. And so they were very motivated to help get this book together and prepared for launch and all that sort of stuff. So even putting the book together was, that was a collaborative thing from people around the world. And I paid for all of it because I hired them. I paid for it in Bitcoin. So for the Bitcoin community, they're going to love it. This is the first time I've ever paid for anything with Bitcoin. So I think it was I know Bitcoin's an investment, but I think this is a much better investment. Well, not much better, but a different investment. Irene, good morning. Unvaccinated still not allowed to fly in the U.S. Yeah, I don't understand what's happening in the U.S. That makes no sense. I don't understand the rules again. Now we have more, it's just the political class run amok. I have never, not once, been asked for my vaccine status going into the U.S. Never, ever. So this whole narrative we're getting out of the Canadian media that the U.S. was just as strict, they tried that in the testimony that, they had restrictions there. And no, they don't. Maybe it was a matter of policy, but it wasn't enforced because I not once had to show my vaccination status going into the United States. Coming back into Canada, I only had to show it once, which was just before the convoy when I went on Tucker Carlson. And then after I broke my ankle when I got back into the truck, I never once showed my vaccine status, which is kind of how I knew. The government's just trying to get out of it. It's clear that CBSA was not interested in enforcing this. And I know I know some police officers that were not vaccinated. So there were clearly officers within CBSA, which for those of you in the United States, that's Canada Border Security Agency. There were many of them who were not vaccinated, and so I think it's caused a lot of conflict within CBSA, and I think they resented the fact that you want me to secure the border. We're not here to do, medical screening. It's really kind of gross. So anyways, is what it is. It worked out. I don't know what's happening in the U.S. I have a feeling this is not going to last very long, that there's going to be a lot of pushback in the United States with whatever rules they've just brought up, and it is what it is. Monique says, how much are you selling the book? It's in U.S. dollars, it's 14 and change and 16 and change. Canadian, 16 and change for the Dead Tree edition. I gotta say that, I just love it. And I don't know what it converts out to in Canadian dollars, like $21 or $22 or something like that. It does it automatically, so you just kind of, like most books, you just set the U.S. price and it kind of works around it. So yeah, that's basically what it is now. Okay, the next thing, just to get on to, by the way, thank you for all the good mornings, and perhaps a few things will change in the U.S. after today. Yeah, I think so. I think that's really going to have an impact, and, it's just really odd that they would impose these regulations just ahead of midterm elections in the United States. And I think what's happening is they're getting, false data. They're getting false, They're getting false information from, their polling of people. And they think that people want these lockdowns because I think people in the political class think Twitter's reality, which it's not. It's not even close to reality. And I think that's why they keep getting burned in these elections. And we get so many surprises because, I mean, I know from people who are in comms in politics that it's just Twitter, 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 Twitter. It's like, no, half of Twitter are bots. I mean, not half, but many of them are bots. Many of it is API scripting that's going to be just posting comments. I mean, we've seen all the memes before, right? So it is what it is. Jewish redneck prepper. What an awesome name. Shalom. Well, shalom. Thanks, brother, for coming in. And this is for everybody. By the way, this stream is much like the Freedom Convoy, despite the desperate attempts from the political class to label everybody as with whatever pejorative they tried to use. This space, much like the Freedom Convoy, is for everybody. And I have friends across the board. And yes, I even have liberal friends. And I have, social conservative Christian friends. And I just focus on all our commonalities and not our differences. And it's amazing how you can have friendships that flourish when you focus on like a couple of my friends that are very kind of liberal. They're all into cars. So cars are motorcycles. And, I used to have a bike. I used to have a sports car and whatever. I used to go to the track all the time. So we don't sit around there talking about politics, right? We talk about cars, So it's important to maintain those friendships, I believe. So we'll see what happens in the U.S. Libby says they extended the vaccine status requirement till January 8th, 2023. I just canceled another planned trip for the end of November. Yeah, and you know what's odd about that, Libby, is I'm going to get my truck right now. I'm going to go to the U.S. I'm not going to be screened for anything. And then I'm going to come back in my truck into Canada, and I'm not going to be screened for anything. So, I don't know. I mean, yeah, okay, I'm spending most of the time in the truck. I get that. But, you go to your destination, you're talking to people, whatever. I mean, this is just political theater is what it is. And it's a little bit out of control. So let's hope things are successful in the midterms today. And if we have some change on that part of the political landscape, I think you will see some change on the federal level because they'll have no choice. They'll have absolutely zero choice. Real life is when you go outside and talk with people, not social media. Hannah, 100%. And I've given that example many times. Like I go to, one of the acknowledgments in the book is the second cup on Danforth in Toronto. Many, many days of many, many meetings with John and myself and going over stuff and planning and interviewing because he would interview me as we're, trying to get my ideas out to put the timeline together. And, we've been doing this for months. And listen, my area of the city, it ain't exactly, right wing, we'll put it that way. There are some people across the spectrum there. But in general, like that part of the area, it's all very kind of, left wing sort of thing, if I can use that old antiquated term. And but I get along great with everybody. They're awesome. Some of them know who I am, and whatever, they disagree. But it is what it is. We all get along. And in fact, it was very funny. I would always go in without a mask, and if somebody asked me to put on a mask, then I would put it on, right? And my whole philosophy, I got this from Scott Adams, the tactic, and it's brilliant. If everybody is forced to ask you to put on a mask, if they have to ask every single person, eventually they'll give up, right? And I remember, I guess it was in January. It was before the convoy, before Tamara called me. I was in line, and I was going to my truck, and somebody came up to me, and she said, you're not wearing a mask. And she saw the look on my face like, you don't want to go there with me. And she said, no. I don't want to wear a mask either. Like, this is making me crazy. And I said, just take it off. Just take it off. Every place I go to, when I walk in without a mask, sometimes they'll say, can you put a mask on? And I'll be like, okay, because I don't want to fight with the employee there. That's not their fault, right? But 90% of the time, I sit there in line at whatever place. I wait for a minute and a half. And so at Starbucks, it would be an hour and a half. But I wait in line for a minute and a half. And they know what happens? People around me start taking their masks off. So just take it off. The government doesn't control you. You control yourself. So it is what it is. Dr. G, are you friends with Damus? I know friends. I've been watching his stream for the commission when I've had time. So I've been bouncing it back and forth, and I've posted his stream. We've talked a little bit DM on Twitter before, but that's about it. Always seemed to be pretty cool with me. So there you go. I heard the I don't know. Benjamin, how is your foot, brother? In a lot of pain. I gotta be honest, a lot of pain. It was this weekend. It's still cracking a little bit, like I'm moving my ankle right now, and I'm told it's because the seasons are changing, because the temperature's changing or whatever, and it was so yeah, it still hurts quite a lot, and I want to get back on that treadmill behind me, and I'm told I wouldn't be able to for now maybe another 8-9 months, but we'll see what happens, and it is what it is. I live about a kilometer from Danforth. Should let me know on Twitter next time you go there. We never met in person. Yeah, sure. I'm cool with that. There's every time I'm there, there's a number of people that walk by and see me, and that's happened a number of times while we're working. And yeah, by all means, that's great. So today at around 11 o'clock, 11:20, I am going to be on the Cafe Bitcoin podcast. What is Cafe Bitcoin? Cafe Bitcoin is a daily podcast that's run on Twitter and turned into a podcast. It's Twitter Space. It's run by Alex and the team at Swan and Jacob and everybody. They're awesome. They're very much trying to educate people on Bitcoin. They've had Michael Saylor on. They have Greg Foss on quite frequently. I've been on stage there a few times, just engaging with some of their guests. And you don't have to be a Bitcoiner to come in there, but I will be on today as their guest and talking about this book here, Honking For Freedom, and some of the things surrounding Ottawa and what happened. I'm sure they're going to have political questions too. And so that will be 11 o'clock today. So that's the reason I'm doing this early. I want to get out of here, get to my truck, and do all my safety checks and all that sort of stuff, and then just park and go on Cafe Bitcoin from there. Because if not, then I'm not going to get into, I think I'm going to New Jersey today. I won't get in there until 1 o'clock at night, which means I won't get back until really late tomorrow night. So it's amazing what the difference of 1 hour will make. If you push that ends up being 4 hours coming back tomorrow. So it is what it is. Hannah says, my body, my choice. I choose not to hide my smile. You know what? That is some wisdom there, Hannah. 100%. I agree. He released a vid on a tip request recently. I don't know what that is. What do you mean a tip request? Tell me what that is, and I can reach out to him and ask him. Okay, and so the last thing is the Honking for Freedom book will be available on Friday if all goes well. Ellie tells me everything is set up and they're scrambling because it's kind of like a product launch. So they got 3-4 days of a lot of work ahead of them. And but they promised me something will be available. I'm not sure what time they will be, what time of the day, if it'll be 12 o'clock in the morning or sometime during the day. I'll likely be in the truck, actually, when it's released. So I will try to keep in touch with him, and when it's available, I'll just let you know via social media, Truth, Getter, Twitter, I guess even Facebook, Minds, and let you know that the book is available. And then for the next few weeks, I'll probably be doing quite a few podcasts and interviews because there's a lot of stories in here, man. There's a lot of stuff that people don't know that was going on that we covered here, plus everybody else's story. I talk about the media strategy I don't tell everything because, I kept a few secrets that only I know, but most of it is. And the man in the wheelchair, remember that chapter? That was it was great, but it was also I don't felt I deserved that. I wasn't the man in the wheelchair, by the way. So I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but yeah, it's you're gonna like it, I promise. You did great during the inquiry. Figured I would say so. Also, I broke my leg in 7 places and have a 10-inch Titan plate and screws holding my fibia together. The weather matters. Okay, so I'm not going to complain anymore because that is significantly worse. And don't tell me how much it's going to hurt for the next however long. I just kind of accepted it at this point. Suzanne Cafe, the Cafe Bitcoin podcast. Yes, that's going to be today. So if you go into Twitter, for those of you who don't know how to access it, if you go onto Twitter, you'll see my name will have like a purple halo around it. If you click it, it'll say join the space. That will be the space that they'll be interviewing me on. So please join. I'd like to make a donation, like 10 books for people that can't afford it. Is that okay? Yeah, sure. I mean, I think what you do is, let's talk. You know what? Send me a message over Twitter, and we'll figure out how to do that. And I'm trying to think, it'd be great if we can get somebody, because I'm bleeding money putting all of this together. I got to be honest, this was not cheap. And I have not made a dime from any of this convoy stuff. I've done this just because it was important. And plus, there's all my legal fees. So, yeah, it's been a little bit tight this year. But I would like to figure out a way to get this book in the hands of all the members of Parliament in Canada and provincial Parliament even, for them to understand what they did and how amazing this experience was. It was, but anyways, I don't know if anybody has any ideas about that. Let me know. Okay, Hannah. Wow, awesome, Dr. G. Props to Dr. G. That would be amazing. Yeah, DM me on Twitter. I appreciate it, brother. And because we need to get the word out. And I promise you, this book, this one here, this one is not tied to any political parties. It's not tied to any political narrative. It's critical of, there's not too much politics. Obviously, it's there because things were going on. But it's not a book about politics. It's a book about people. And that's why it says, the trucker convoy that gave us hope, which is what we were trying to do. It's amazing. Okay, so pre-order, honkyforfreedom.com. My Substack, I'm going to be releasing a couple of things kind of around this and related to it. Can't wait to read it and share with the students. They are curious, but many only have heard the CBC crap. Yeah, and I also explain why the CBC was banned from our press conferences, as well as the Toronto Star and CTV and all that sort of stuff. That was a strategic move, which I think worked out to our benefit, and they may not like it. And as things continue, I'll continue to do it if I need to, until they start becoming somewhat or remotely honest in any way, shape, or form. Dr. G, I can help out with that, Benjamin. I will help sending the books to MPs and MPPs. That's important, man. Like, they need to, and that's also why we tried to make it not a political book, not endorsing and supporting any political parties or whatever, just to say what was going on. Because I don't want people to get their backs up and think, oh, it's just politics. This is not. This is just the story about all of you, and I thank all of you for all of your support throughout the convoy, and ever since, all of you who've been kind to me, all of you who've gone online and pushed back against the political trolls that have been doing their best to try to paint me in a negative light. I spoke to Jordan Peterson about that in one of our calls last month, and I asked him, when you were going through everything, did you have this same sort of nonsense where people were just making claims that were completely false, making up rumors and attacking you and whatever. And he's like, oh, of course, constantly. That's when you see the nihilistic traits of certain people in our society went on. And it was really it was great to understand that he went through a similar experience. And he said, and in fact, everybody who gets thrown in some sort of spotlight, whether it's intentional or not, are going to have to deal with that. And he said, just don't let it keep you down, man. Just forge ahead, just push through it, and don't let it distract you. So that was his advice to me, and I am forever appreciative of all his advice and the advice he gave me throughout the convoy as well. And also his endorsement of the book, which you can't really see because there's a graphic on it, not for resale because it's the precept, but that's Jordan's comment for the back of the book. So eternally grateful to him. He's a great person. He's wonderful. He's caring. And I don't know if Susanna is watching the stream today. One of my friends who went to see Jordan last night in Arizona. God, that man lives on a plane right now. So it's amazing. I'm about 1 kilometer from Queen's Park. Perfect. Awesome. So we'll figure out a way to get them some books. Okay, Substack, BJdichter.substack.com. Today, Cafe Bitcoin. Go on to Twitter. It's a Twitter space turned into a podcast. We're going to talk about the book a little bit. And reach out to me here. I'm not going to be doing a stream tomorrow because I will be in the U.S., and I don't know. Maybe I'll do like a TikTok video or reach out to you guys some way. And, I'm always trying to be as accessible as possible. But, yeah. And Carolyn says, how do I get one, please? Carolyn, go to honkingforfreedom.com. You can pre-order the digital copy now, or it will be released on Remembrance Day. And that is completely intentional because some of our politicians seem to have forgotten the importance of freedom and what people in our history have sacrificed to maintain that freedom. So, okay, so I love all of you. I want you all to have an amazing day, and much like I was explaining before, when I go into the coffee shop, everybody has all sorts of different political views. I go out of my way to be nice to everybody, and everybody who works there knows me. The owner knows me. He's a great guy. And irrespective of all our political differences, we're all in the same city. We all we want to have a life where we're left alone. And most of us are not activists. That is a small, minuscule fringe percentage of society that are activists. That's not who are your neighbors. Even the people who are liberal or left or whatever you want to call them, they may have views you disagree with, but they're not activists. They just want to go on with their life like you and I. And let's never forget that. And that's the good thing. That's the whole positive thing that we got to remember, that at the end of the day, I'm sure if any of you had any problems, in your home or in your apartment, your condo, whatever, and you were desperate and you went to your neighbor and asked for help, 9 times out of 10, they would help you no matter what your worldview are, what your worldview is. Sorry, I'm a little tired. It's a long night. People have this innate instinct to help one another. And I think if we keep it positive, we're going to go back and shift back to that space where we do help each other more, and we really don't care what people's political views are. That time is, I think, coming to an end, and we should celebrate it, and we should be really happy about it. And look outside. Look how great it is. The weather's wonderful. People are getting along. The policies and flying, it's a pain in the ass. It's a bump in the road. We'll see what happens in the U.S. I think that's going to have a major impact on it, and we will go back to maintaining our freedoms. And, once they start talking about masks or any of that sort of stuff, write and call your MPs and MPPs repeatedly over and over again and tell as many people as you can to do the same thing. That's the pressure that they'll respond to. But we'll be okay. Things are going to be great, I promise you. All right, I got to run and get out of here, get to my truck, and log on to Cafe Bitcoin. And hopefully I will be talking to you, some of you there. And I bless my brother. I met Tamara's father in Walsh, Alberta. He really likes you and Chris. Yeah, Tamara's father is a great guy. He's like salt of the earth guy. He's very, very sweet because I stayed over at Tamara's house when I was there a few years ago. And met her parents and her family and Dwayne and everybody and her daughter. Her daughter's super smart. She's in university now. But just wonderful people. And that's the future we're going into. We all love each other, and we all try to do our best for each other. So I got to run. I love you all. We'll talk to you soon.